public storage in Palm Beach. Not so crazy now, is it, warrior? You know, we heard about Epstein for years. You heard about Epstein for years, Ghislaine, everything that's going on. But we always heard about the videotaping, the tape recordings, the pictures, all of that. Because we knew from the now women that were teenage girls and young women then, that they all said this was basically being recorded, being videotaped, being watched at all times. And I would always ask everybody for the last several years, where are all those tapes? Where are all those recordings? Where are all those images? Now, I dare say, and I don't know this for a fact, I would always say, well, I think the Department of Justice might have them, or perhaps somebody else. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Ghislaine's family has, she's got sisters. Maybe they have a lot of things. I don't know. But now it doesn't sound fringe anymore when they're putting out into the media that law enforcement, that they've discovered several public storage lockers across the United States. This one in particular was in Palm Beach, full of recordings, images of so many girls and young women, images of victims that have come forward, all kinds of, what shall I say, child's clothing. Remember, we're a family program, so I try to stick to that. Certain kinds of toys. They're coined toys. I don't know if you really call them that, but that's what they're coined in the market. Now, I say to myself, with all of this going on, all we're learning, things coming out in these files, redacted or not, I think we all know the writing on the wall. Did he really have, I have to say, call me a conspiracy theorist if you want. Remember, all these things for years that we put forth and people would say, that is crazy. That is a conspiracy. Most of these things have proven true. But I dare say about the public storage, is that all of a sudden somebody who I'm sure was surveilled, Jeffrey Epstein, at every move for years? I'll leave it at that. It's for another program. Providing information, taking information, honeypotting, all that stuff we hear about. Do you think maybe, this is me, do you think maybe somebody who had all this, the tapes, the recordings, the images, do you think, could it be possible that they all of a sudden came up with this nice story? Oh, well, we found, after all these years, we found all these storage units. At last count this morning, it was 6 that they had, full of sexual content. Could it be possible that whoever had it, this is just the story, the propaganda, more lies? Again, I have no proof of this, but that kind of makes sense to me. Because our crackerjack investigative, whoever they were, I think would have known about, especially since some of the files, things were related to, should we go erase? Should we go move things to a storage? And I'm paraphrasing here. Should we go take things out of storage? I get very worked up about this. But here's the bottom line about all of this. Yes, I will keep talking about, every time a story pops up, pretty much asking you to dig deeper, dive in about, sorry, I just ate, but dive in about Jeffrey Epstein, because what all this means, the circus, the this or that, I want to give you some stuff to think about, right? How easily, right in front of us, they try to pull the wool over our eyes, but no more, because people are savvy, people are waking up, people are smart in 2026, people are questioning more, people are digging deeper. What trickles down? Not just to victims of Epstein, Maxwell, and all their circle, right? But all sex trafficking, labor traffic victims right now, girls, women, right, that are looking at this story and saying, and they've said to my face, and I've been with them, and I know them, so many survivors. That is why your support to Lynn's Warriors, half goes to our education programs to get in there with young people and their parents and talk to them. The other half goes to supporting survivors. That could be giving them some food money, giving them transportation, paying an electric bill, a car payment, all kinds of stuff, just so you know where the support goes. But what is trickling down as they watch this to all victims with a lot of budgets cut and more people swept up in all these vulnerabilities of, exploitation, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's trafficking, which, by the way, they intersect. They're always pretty much related, right? There's violence, fraud, coercion, and that's the classic definition of human trafficking. But this violence, domestic violence. Interestingly enough, very sad, I was out with a group of young women, I would say all in their 30s the other day. I was Mama Bear, Mama Warrior. And each and every one of them, it's 5 young women, at my table, relayed to me that they had some sort of sexual assault in their history. Each one of them. I'm pretty good now. I can look in the eyes. I can see the way a story is relayed. They were not making these things up. Not at all. And I thought, wow. And it was always when they were, 18, 20, like in that area. Always the 5 I was with started as they thought it was a friend, somebody they could trust, somebody they could be alone with, who then jumped them. Nope, actually, and did something, and they were so shocked, it was over before they knew what even happened to them. And then that fear and that embarrassment, they're not going to come forward. So now you have Jeffrey Epstein. You got these vulnerable girls. Come on now, teenage girls, young women, they're trying to get into acting, they're trying to get into modeling, they're trying just to be around money, influence, they're trying to buy some nice clothes. They fall fast. Because we have a lot of these Epstein victims who, when they saw what it was, the few that have come forward about this, they went the other way. They were taking no part of it. Others didn't realize really what was happening and they were stuck. And then others, I guess, just were happy to be around this wealth and somebody they thought loved them, because this kind of abuse and exploitation is very confusing with that young developing mind, male-female dynamic. Surely these people of wealth and power are going to be good to me and take care of me, buy me a Louis Vuitton pocketbook. So now we have things unraveling, but I do question these storage units. Nobody knew about them before. I'm sure they did. Are the things newly there? Are they just announcing it because somebody's about to release? But again, I want to leave you with this story is darker and dirtier and more complex than you and me can ever imagine. We're never going to get to the bottom of it. I've said that all along. What we are going to utilize, Epstein, Maxwell, all of this horror, again, because we don't know the half of it. Zorro Ranch, by the way. That's the place to be investigating right now. Is if we, at least we're raising the talk about exploitation, right? Let's continue that, but let's take it to, open and honestly talking to our girls and young women. And that stands for boys and young men too, because they are abused, and that is the silent majority that nobody's ever talking about or too much, right? Let us use the opportunity, to educate ourselves that this happens in America, because we're about America at the Warriors, and that those closest to a trafficked child, I should say a family member. People traditionally think it's that stranger snatching a child, that old white van story. That's who traffics a child, a teen. But the reality is it's familial trafficking done by somebody closest to them, whether it's the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, the aunt, the uncle, the friends of the parents. They're the traffickers. The kids know them. So all of this is normalized, right? So let's use this whole Epstein. You have a teenager. They're seeing and hearing everything, even if they don't discuss with you. So, let's get into the conversation with them a little bit, because a new study came out. It's terrific. And there's a couple of studies now, thank goodness, because we need, at the Warriors, we like to back everything up by studies, vet it, with good information that we can share, that kids And we've known this for a while. I mean, kids like structure, no matter what they say or how they act. They like you spending time with them. They like direction. That makes them feel loved, okay? Not the, you didn't do this, blah, 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 blah. No. Come on now. Somebody doesn't make their bed. Is that really a big deal in life? However, there's a study that says children who make beds have a more of an even flow kind of day. Their brains are more organized and not as chaotic. Kind of makes perfect sense, right? I remember my mom telling me years ago, I can still hear her. I can still see her. I had a pink check gingham bedspread. We don't really have bedspreads anymore. We have comforters. But I'm sidetracking here. And she said, Lynn, first thing in the morning when you get up, you make your bed because it makes the whole room look cleaned up. I never forgot it. And to this day, every day when I make the bed, I think of my mother telling me that. And it's true. Nothing looks worse than a bedroom when the bed's all unmade and the pillows are on the floor and all that. Make the bed. So these kids, the minds are young and vulnerable. They want us. Believe you me, because they reveal to me after I gain their trust. If I'm with a group, teaching a group, exploring with a group, focus group, my parents don't care. They're online. They're too busy for me. Granted, we are all busy, or we have multiple jobs, or we're tired at the end of the day. If it's 10 quality minutes for our precious kids, you got to have it. You got to carve it out. You got to put on a brave smile. You got to parent up. Because I talked about it on the interview I did for Warrior Wednesday on the other side of midnight with Lionel, my fantastic saint husband. And this study came out that shows how the parenting has changed since the 1980s, where we became in the 80s more permissive, more, let the child do what they want, more of no guardrails, more of just we're one, as opposed to, the parent has to maintain some sort of authority. You're the parent after all. And how this chipping away at this kind of attitude left a vacuum. And who do you think got in that vacuum? Big tech. And now, fast forward 2026, we have all these problems today. Youth mental health, scrolling addiction, anxiety, depression, eating disorders, self-harm. And so we have to realize this. And it's okay. We're not blaming. We're not nostalgia, this kind of thing. Let's take care of it. Let's get back on track. Let's put down the devices a half hour a day. 15 minutes, half hour. Let's start there. Let's start talking to our kids open and honestly. Let's chip away. Let's take those 10 minutes. Spend it with the child, quality time. Let's take a book with a child, a small child. That has such proven everything for the child. And especially when a father reads to children, makes more of an impact than a mom. Reading a book for 10 minutes. Saying, did you like it? Tell me why. What kind of book would you like to read next? Make it for the kids, because as I get older and I'm looking back and I'm thinking and I'm reading studies and doing the work I'm doing now and the advocacy and working with people and survivors and victims, and it's just about love and it's about attention and it's about telling kids, you are good enough. You don't need some stranger on your Chromebook, on your phone, on your gaming console, to be telling you you're beautiful or smart. Because their goal, wherever the kids are, so are the predators, right? Is to get you, offline, to meet them. We know that children 9 to 17, we know about 1 in 4 are approached sexually online. I'm sure it's much higher. Because when I'm in classrooms and bring this up, how many of you have been approached inappropriately? Every hand goes up. And once in a while, there's a smart kid in the class, Mr. or Miss Tough guy, tough woman, and not me. All the hands are going up. So I'm sure that hand is supposed to be going up too. But their goal is just to exploit children, to get images from children that they can put online and sell. So we have to inoculate the kids against that. Embolden, empower. You see something, they ask something, you come to mom, you come to dad. Maybe you live with grandma, you go to grandma. This is not allowed. This is not normal. We must come together. We must protect our children. I am a broken record because until everybody joins me, These are our precious, precious babies. How can we allow any of this? Push on our government. Talk more with the kids. Put down the devices. Get involved with the school. Even if you work, you can't, you have multiple children, you ask what the curriculum is. You ask what platforms they will be on during the school day. You're also entitled to get all of your assignments. Nobody knows this. I did a video on it. It's called, and there's a movement that's been percolating and spreading like wildfire, and we at the Warrior support it, and it's called pen to paper. And that is, schools will tell you you have to be on a Chromebook. You have to do your assignments online. You have to be in the classroom with a computer. But guess what? No, you don't. You got to push a little harder. Every assignment can be given to you in a paper packets we have going around now in the country. And other kids are seeing little Johnny take home his paper packet, with the week's assignments on nice white sheets and printed out. And other kids want that because they're getting sick and tired of, trying to do homework on a phone. Sometimes when kids lose here in New York City, where I am, their government-issued Chromebook, they can't get a replacement. And so they're doing homework, on the phone. You know how difficult that is? So we have some work to do, but there are a lot of easy solutions that can start right now. Don't cost any money. And it starts with discussion. It starts with feeling, and empathy. It starts with really helping each other. And it just starts with us, the warriors. So think about all these things. Pen to paper. Don't let them tell you you have to use the computer, because you don't. Know what your kids are doing as much as you can, because kids are savvy. They get around everything. They know a lot more, I'm sure, than we did because they've been exposed to the internet and anything goes on there. But understand, we have a lot of brave parents speaking up and out whose children have been harmed. We've got the big tech trial going on in LA. We've got one that is in New Mexico right now against Roblox, all exploiting children, dangerous scrolling, dangerous algorithms, products put out knowingly that will harm kids, because we have the whistleblowers, the internal memos. But look for my interview. I have to actually post it because I do it live at 1 a.m. Eastern time. I talk about the parenting and the parent trap. And again, nobody's fault, but we're here. So let's clean it up. Let's move forward. Let us be the leaders. Let us be those warriors and show others the warrior way. Join us, lynswarriors.org. Thank you for being here. Share the videos. Subscribe. It's free. And always remember, come out and be a warrior.